All power to the people, brothers and sisters. All power to the people, brothers and sisters. We have been asked plenty of times, almost for 5 months now, our response to Rashid's slanderous campaign, his lies, and the real reason why he left the NABPP, the New African Black Panther Party. Now, we're not going to engage in slander. We're not going to reveal the inner workings of the New African Black Panther Party, which operates under democratic centralism. Rashid has saw fit to take personal conversations amongst comrades and put it into a diatribe, a letter. If any real revolutionary, serious revolutionary, that have studied theory, that have been in the field, look at Rashid's articles. There's no ideological context there. There's no reason as to why politically he decided to split from the New African Black Panther Party. In fact, we're no longer calling it a split. We're calling it a coup attempt. And this is the reason why. And this is a statement from the Central Committee of the New African Black Panther Party. Even though some time has passed, we are repeatedly asked to make a statement on the split in the New African Black Panther Party, henceforth coup. It is difficult to sum up because it was not based upon a principled two-line struggle, but rather reflects the frustration of an attempted coup by our former Minister of Defense, Kevin Johnson. That is not his real name, but like everything else about him, it is a made-up cover to hide his true identity. We did not really know Rashid. We only knew the persona he invented and projected to suit his purpose. Rashid is a master at copying, including the emotions of others he is incapable of feeling himself. It is therefore, for us, the New African Black Panther Party, a scientific explanation for this behavior, and we call it a sociopathic, narcissistic personality disorder. At least this fits and describes what we have observed. The New African Black Panther Party leadership since 2005. We're not speaking hyperbole. We're not making conjectures. We're not slandering anyone. I'm telling you out of the mouth of the Central Committee that Rashid is not who you think he is. It explains also why we thought that he made a serious transformation in his character, in his ethos, in his world outlook. But like who we see today, Rashid is very skilled at hiding his emotions. He has a poker face that is hard to read. But at the founding of the New African Black Panther Party, we were all doomed men. All of us. If we adhere to Huey P. Newton's principle that a black revolutionary is a doomed man, then at the beginning of this struggle for revolution, we must embrace this task, and we must embrace it sincerely and honestly. So we knew at the beginning of founding this Black Panther Party that we were doomed men. And this freed us to be coldly objective and determined, what in fact was needed without fear of what it would cost us to take this path. As things developed, it became evident there was a real chance for Chairman Shaka Zulu to get his sentence reduced and become eligible for parole. Though it took longer than we had hoped, a decision was made for Shaka to keep a lowered profile and for Rashid to be the principal spokesman for the New African Black Panther Party until Shaka Zulu got out. We were not aware of how this would affect Rashid's personality disorder, But in retrospect, comrades, it fits his narcissism. Even before Shaka Zulu got his parole, and we have a letter, comrade. I have an encyclopedia worth of letters from Rashid. So I have the evidence to prove. In fact, we have opened up our dossier to revolutionary journalists and historians around the world who can review the internal documents that was exchanged between Rashid, Shaka Zulu, Tom Watts, and the Central Committee. We had these documents, but we did not release these documents because this is not an opportunity, comrades, to slander one another. This is not an opportunity to open up our membership to the whole world, our internal workings to the whole world. In fact, we have a document with Rashid's signature on it, comrades, where he asked us, since he is the minority on the Central Committee, and he was in a minority for almost 2020, he put in a motion so he can write a dissenting opinion on democratic centralist decisions that were resolved behind closed doors and release it to the public. And I told him, comrade, communist organizations don't operate that way. We don't release the internal workings of our decision making to the public for a reason, because we're building base areas of political power that will come into contradiction and confrontation with the enemy state. And Rashid decided, in fact, he said out of his own mouth, the Supreme Court of the United States, catch this, comrades, and we have it on a document. The Supreme Court of the United States is allowed to write dissenting opinions. Why can't he? And we told him, comrade, even based on some of the documents you wrote in Panther Vision, democratic centralism means that when a decision is made, the majority decision held sway, not the minority. You can bring it back up at a later time. But at this point, once the Central Committee, according to democratic centralism, comrades, make a decision, everybody is bound by that. Everybody must be held to that. And Rashid must be held to the same laws of revolutionary organization as anybody else. But we have the documents where Rashid acts like the Supreme Court. Can he write a dissenting opinion? In fact, if you look at all of the documents he released probably about 20 of them in the 6 months, slandering myself, slandering Tom Watts, slandering our minister Kwame, all in an attempt to destroy an organization that he helped founded. Shame on you, brother. Shame on you. So since Shaka got his parole, Rashid began working to undermine him and cast doubts on his fitness for leadership. You see some of the essays. He called me a buffoon, brother. He called me a dummy. He called me a frat man. He called me a man that was illiterate. And let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. We have a document from 2008 where Rashid sent to us saying that I don't think Shaka Zulu had the capability to build an organization on the outside. That was in 2008. So Rashid all along has been undermining any attempts to build the outside revolutionary organization if my face was associated with it. And again, we have the documents and we have opened up our dossier, brothers and sisters, to revolutionary journalists and to revolutionary historians that will be able to look at the documents that Rashid put together, look at the documents that we have in our internal files, and then bring the truth to the people, bring the truth to the masses. So, since I got parole, brothers and sisters, you see the work that we've done in this country. We have traveled up and down this country. We spoke in colleges. We built base areas here in North. We built the base area in Philly. We built the base area in New York. We built the base area in Ohio. We built the base area in California. We built the base area in Plainfield, all under the leadership of Shaka Zulu when he came home from prison 2019 of January the 7th. So look at the good stuff and not look at the slander and lies that Rashid put out, trying to sway the emotions of the people. That's his whole objective, because Rashid know he cannot lead a revolution from a prison cell. Just like Huey P. Newton couldn't lead the revolution from a prison cell. Just like Fidel Castro can't lead the revolution from a prison cell. Only the people organized under Vanguard leadership can lead a revolution. And so we was working, brothers and sisters, to develop the inside-outside infrastructure. Rashid destroyed that. He wrote a document saying that everybody in prison was expelled. That's a lie. That's a big lie. We have the documents, brothers and sisters, where even Pitt himself sent in a resignation letter after he was persuaded by the lies of Rashid. So these are groundless, baseless attacks. And any communist, especially on the anti-imperialist white left, that is circulating these documents as if they are truth, shame on you. Because the day will come where everybody will have to answer to the people for their complicity in the lies that are being told against revolutionaries all over the world, especially those who are trying in these communities to overturn this racist imperialist system. So shame on you if you are circulating these documents. Rashid's fixation on my leadership became magnified once I got out, and particularly as I hit the street running and immediately began showing good results for our efforts. This is not to say that I did not make mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. Let me tell you something, comrades, brothers and sisters. There was no manual, for me at least, a common criminal, a man who only had a 4th grade education, who went to prison, began to develop ideas about himself, about the world, and how we could change the world. There was no manual on how to be a good chairman. There was no manual on how to develop an organization that is mistakeless. There's no manual on how to vet individuals that come into a mass organization with a different agenda. There's no manual on an above ground organization. By virtue of it being mass-based, the doors is open. By virtue of NAPPP being Vanguard-based, the doors is closed. We select for the NABPP, but the people select for the mass organization, which is the United Panther Movement. Rashid did not want to no longer adhere to that. However, it is quite wrong for me as the chairman of this organization to sit here and slander Rashid as if he doesn't have any good qualities. He does have, he's a hell of a writer. He's a hell of a writer. But I can also tell you, comrades, we have the manuscript to Panther Vision. We have the manuscript to Defying the Tomb. Rashid loves to put out there that he wrote this book. But I can almost show you, brothers and sisters, in the manuscript that Rashid did not write Panther Vision. Panther Vision was primarily put together by Tom, who Rashid authorized to speak for him. And we have that letter as well from Rashid, where he explicitly told Comrade Tom when he was in Red Onion State Prison around 2006, right after we founded the NABPP, he told Tom, I need for you to speak for me, that my voice is not being allowed to come out of Red Onion State Prison. I can't sign off on documents. And this is the permission he gave to Tom to speak in his name. And this is what Tom has done for almost 15 years. So those documents were compiled not by Rashid's brain alone, although his name is on that. The reason why Rashid's name is on those documents, if you go back and look, comrade, from 2005 to 2006, I wrote all the documents. All the principal documents, our founding documents, I wrote. If you go back and look. And then once comrades were able to acquire Lennox Hines, who was a Sada Shakur attorney, to be my attorney, then they told me to take a back seat because the possibility was for me to take to the streets because I was locked up 50 years for stealing the North Face coat, a petty crime, but the judge gave me 50 years in prison. So when you see these documents, and you see Rashid's name on those documents from 2005 to about 2011. Comrade Tom put his name on those documents. With the authority of Rashid himself. Again, we have that letter. In fact, we have went all the way back to the crates. And I have a lot of evidence for our revolutionary journalists and our revolutionary historians to get the facts right. To look at the facts. Don't look at the slander. Don't look at the lies. We have the documents, brothers and sisters. We would also want to point out that Rashid's criticism against our Minister of Culture, Kwame Shakur, was never a real criticism. And if you look at it, brothers and sisters, Rashid's letters dip heavy into private conversations that he had with our minister of Indiana, one-on-one, not Central Committee. And he took the private conversations of individuals in our organization and wrote it on a piece of paper and released it to the public as if he was struggling with those issues on the Central Committee. But I can show you, brothers and sisters, in our documents where Rashid never wanted to engage in the two-line struggle on the Central Committee because he was in a minority. He was in a minority. He would come on the Central Committee and be disrupted. He will come on the Central Committee and blame everybody as if he is this big Stalin figure. As if he is this big mousy tongue figure. He would talk down to the comrades in a belittling way on this Central Committee. But one thing for certain, two things for sure, we stopped him on the Central Committee for this attempted coup. His criticism against our minister, like I said, is baseless. And our former General Secretary, Tom Watts, has unearthed documents showing that Rashid himself did not trust the leadership of his own comrades. I have a document, brothers and sisters, where he said out of his own mouth in 2008 that Shaka Zulu will not be able to build up the revolutionary organization on the outside, that he had no confidence in me. And obviously you see what he said about me a few months ago. That only reflects the long historical disrespect that he showed me as a revolutionary leader. And so, brothers and sisters, this became the pattern of Rashid factionalizing and bad-mouthing the chairman and rumor-mongering against him on anyone who didn't side with this attempted coup. Go back and read those letters, comrades, that he put out. He put out about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, an encyclopedia size lies against us. And nowhere in those lies, brothers and sisters, do you see anything pointing to a two-line struggle, an ideological struggle on the Central Committee. What you see Rashid doing is pointing out my mistakes. As if a revolutionary can't make no mistakes. That's what he has been doing, pointing out some of my indiscretions. And what are these indiscretions, brothers and sisters? I said out of my mouth to a comrade sister that she may look good wearing a black dress. A black dress. and I was found not guilty of committing any wrong by my Central Committee, Rashid himself, Shapabu herself, by my Central Committee. And we have the documents. We have the documents, brothers and sisters. But when Rashid left, Rashid acted as if we shredded the documents because the government was about to invade us. But no, we did not, brothers and sisters, because I saw this coup coming. And if you remember, brothers and sisters, all last year in some of my posts, I was hitting at this takeover that was budding within our organization. But we stopped it. We stopped it cold in its tracks. And that's why Rashid left. So I'm not going to sit here and go into detail and whip out the documents on social media to disprove Rashid's lies and false allegations. But what is the point? He's gone from our party, and we are better off without him and the cult of personality he has built around himself. So he has left, and he took some white anti-imperialists with him. And he took some rejectors and wreckers and disruptors with him. And that's okay, because we're building again. We're growing again. We are in the streets again, brothers. We're right there in San Antonio, Texas. We have a UPM collective out there, strong brothers and sisters that will be working the streets in solidarity with the revolutionary forces in Texas. We have brothers and sisters in New York, a UPM collective. We're growing, brothers and sisters. We have a rainbow coalition that we just started, full of young lords, full of Black Panthers, and full of white Panthers. We're growing, brothers and sisters. All over this country, this battle in the streets for the hearts and minds of our people should not lead us to disrespect, humiliate, degrade, and use the tactics of our enemy against another revolutionary organization. No one in the revolutionary movement should be subjected to a scaffolding of lies, all because someone is feeling a little bit emotional and want to leave the ranks because he can't get his way, brothers and sisters. But we will not falter in our struggle. We will not stumble. And if we do, the masses are there to pick us up. The masses are there to move us forward. So it's been 6 months since the split. It's been 6 months since my heart was shattered, since I last cried, because it hurt me, brothers and sisters, that this split occurred. I did everything in my power as the chairman of this organization and as a revolutionary leader to bring Rashid closer into the ranks of the Panther Revolution. Everything in my power. The lies about we expelled him, brothers and sisters. I have his resignation letter. He didn't put that in none of those documents he sent out. Rashid resigned from the new Afrikan Black Panther Party. We did not expel him. In fact, Rashid has been the only one expelling people when you look at what he did to Comrade Casey, his own comrade from Virginia. Rashid expelled him. And he wrote a long document that I did not approve of, and he released it through Shapabu to the public. And on the Central Committee, I gave him a little bit of chastisement. But Rashid was his own monster. Rashid is his own Frankenstein. And like all monsters, and like all Frankensteins, if you don't adhere to their whim, they're going to destroy you. They're going to work to destroy you. Here it is. He is working more hard on destroying the reputation of our minister Kwame, and the new Afrikan Black Panther Party that he is working on consolidating and strengthening his own so-called organization that he founded. In fact, his organization is nowhere in the streets right now. His organization doesn't have any serve the people programs. His organization is not building base areas in the community. In fact, his organization is a prison support group. And that's okay. We support prisoners. But Rashid broke away from us with these lies, with these manipulations, because he could not get his way on the Central Committee, brothers and sisters, which is the highest decision-making body of the revolutionary organization. For you communists out there, you Marxists out there, you know what I'm talking about. You read the documents. I have talked to you behind the scenes, you historians, you journalists. I have talked to original Black Panthers behind the scenes. I have talked to original young lords behind the scenes. I have talked to original black political prisoners behind the scenes, and they have all attested that those documents do not reflect an ideological struggle, but more of a structural question, more of a structural issue, brothers and sisters. Look at it, brothers and sisters. I'm not talking about you young comrades who are just coming into revolutionary theory, who are just coming into revolutionary struggle. You may not understand the inner workings of democratic centralism, historical dialectical materialism. Subsequently, when Rashid put these lies out, and because you don't understand how a revolutionary organization operates, you think he is putting out a truth, when really he is putting out a Machiavellian lie. I think it was Hitler that said, if you put out a lie 100 times, brothers and sisters, the people will begin to believe it. And Rashid has wrote 6 essays sitting in his prison cell, rather than focusing on getting free, rather than focusing on building revolutionaries around him. He is sitting in his cell under a nightlight on a table, thinking of lies that he can spew out to the public to destroy the new Afrikan Black Panther Party. But we ain't going nowhere, brothers and sisters. We're still here. I'm still here. And I'm going to fight until every ounce of my blood is spilled out of my body, because we're going to be free. I'm determined that we be free. And so, I'm not going to sit here too much longer. It's been 6 months. We allowed the lies, the untruths, the deceptions, the manipulations, the unprincipled revolutionary behavior of Rashid and his hirelings to run amok in the revolutionary community. And some of you comrades that have supported me when I was in prison, some of you comrades that had came to my court appearances, some of you comrades that talked to me behind closed doors, you should be ashamed of yourself that you're circulating this material in Indiana prisons, where you know they're not based on fact, where you know they're based on a disagreement amongst an organization. That reminds me of what Comrade Huey P. Newton talked about when he said that a revolutionary organization is a political vehicle that is specifically shaped, fashioned, and formed to deliver liberation and freedom to our brothers and sisters. Now, what kind of political vehicle was he talking about? He wasn't talking about the Democratic political organization or the Republican political organization. He wasn't talking about the nonprofit structure. He wasn't talking about the NGOs. He was talking about a communist, Marxist-Leninist, Maoist revolutionary infrastructure. Not a National Black United Front organization, but a communist organization. And the communists have different principles, different morals, different values, different ethos than all of these other organizations. And Rashid knows that. So to put these documents out there after he has developed this maniacal personality of wanting to be the sole leader shows you, brothers and sisters, that this is not a real struggle between us. This is a structural question. So our work will go on. The new Afrikan Black Panther Party will go on. We will walk at a turtle pace if we have to. But we will go on living with the masses, fighting with the masses, struggling with the masses, loving the masses, marrying the masses, eating with the masses, and ultimately we will fight with the people for our freedom against this tyrannical, authoritarian, racist, capitalist, imperialist system. And all you brothers and sisters that support us openly. Don't support me behind closed doors. Don't send me a text saying right on. Don't ask me to give a talk on your podcast. Don't ask me to write a blurb for your book if you can't support the new Afrikan Black Panther Party and our Central Committee out in public. And so again, brothers and sisters, I have opened up myself along with the Central Committee, opened up our dossier to revolutionary journalists and revolutionary historians. And we have a few that we know personally. We have Comrade George Kashifikis. He hasn't taken on the task of writing this treatise yet, but he is an historian. I love him. He has 12 books out, all about revolution, all about black liberation and our struggle, and how it's tied revolutionary intercommunally with other struggles around the world. George Kashifikis is a wonderful historian. He has these documents easily at his lap if he asks for them. We have Comrade Victor Wallace. He's a professor and a journalist and a historian. And he has several books out, along with his long years of publishing Socialism and Democracy. And so we have these documents available, comrades. All you have to do if you want to get at the truth from a revolutionary perspective is get in touch with the new Afrikan Black Panther Party, and we will put to shame not only Rashid's lies, but all of those cats, all of those charlatans, all of those Philistines, all of those fakes and phonies. That shame on you. All power to the people, brothers and sisters.